Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. So today I'm actually at Tony and Becky's backyard garden and we're going to walk around to show you what the garden looks like right now in the middle of July. And we're just going to quickly walk around and kind of talk a little bit about the plants and how they are doing right now. And later on when the sun sets, we're going to be turning the landscape lights for you to see as well. So enjoy. So this is the apple tree that they have on the left side of the garden. They also have another one on the other side, which I'll show you in a sec. And if I have a photo of this or a video clip of this, I will put it up. It was gorgeous this past May. And just under that apple tree, you can see we've got a bunch of hostas underneath here because it is quite shaded and it does get a little bit of morning sun. So do you remember where the Patriot hostas are divided up into 4 pieces, and this is what they are looking like right now. And here are the other set of hostas that we divided up. I forget what the name of this, but I'll try to remember. But if you know, let me know. But I love this. It's a gorgeous blue with the margin that's yellow. I think it's beautiful. And then we've got some more in the corner there. I don't know if you remember, we had some of the stems of the Annabelle hydrangeas that were in there. Some of them did get rooted and we got it moved to another part of the garden which were planted. So I'm going to show you that in a sec later. And here are some more hostas. These, look at the size of these leaves. It's a gorgeous blue color. Anyway, if I remember the name, I'll pop them up on the screen for you. And here's a gorgeous view of the Annabelles from the corner here. And you also see that there's lots of these lights that my brother has installed throughout the garden. And you can see the wiring underneath that he ran to all of them. Do you remember the hostas that I divided up and had them all around as a drift under the base of this apple tree? And here are the little vision in pink astilbe. They are blooming right now. So all of the Annabelles that I divided are alive and they are blooming gorgeously right now. Here's another view of all the beautiful hostas we've got under the apple tree. So here's one of the stems that rooted, the one that we rooted after when I was putting the Annabelles back. So we planted it in this corner here. From one bush of Annabelle, look how many I've got. So in no time, each one of these will become a gigantic bush of Annabelles. I love it. Here's another look of the Annabelle from this side of the garden. A beautiful lilac tree here. And under this lilac tree, I have the group of green hosta that I placed around it. That's gorgeous. And here we've got a group of white astilbe. Now, I think initially we had the autumn joy sedum, but my brother likes astilbe more, so he moved them somewhere else and divided up this astilbe from other parts of their garden. And right behind the astilbe, we've got the endless summer. Now this one is an endless summer. Now these two, I'm not sure what the variety is, but they are not blooming, so I don't think they're getting enough sunlight. We may have to get them moved somewhere else. So because they were recently transplanted, all of this is from new growth, so you don't see a lot of blooms on this. And here's the other piece of the endless summer that I divided into 2. There's some beautiful, gorgeous hosta there. And then we've got more Annabelle that we planted in the back there from stems that rooted earlier in the spring, and some more astilbe. So we've also got a row or a drift of green hosta in the back there. Here are all the autumn joy sedum, actually some of them, that my brother transplanted over here. In front of those sedum, you can see there's a drift of this hosta as well. And here you have, I think this is a fire and ice hydrangea. So this is the original hydrangea that I did not move. It was here before. So this variety is also an early blooming type. And it does have sort of a lace cap look with the infertile petals and the fertile balls. And those will open up into little stars, quite similar to the quickfire. So you recall that the other bush that they had in the garden, I split that one into 3, which I'll show you in a sec. So you can see that some of the blooms have now started to turn pink. It's a gorgeous color. Look in this corner. Do you see this beautiful hosta? That is a gorgeous, and the leaf is gigantic. Comparing the size of my hand to each one, it's gorgeous. I love the blue color. And here's one of the strawberry vanilla hydrangea plant that I moved from the back to the front. And as you can see, the panicles are a little bit slow and they are still in the broccoli stage. But eventually these will open and they will bloom, but just a little bit behind because they were recently transplanted. My sister-in-law has a lot of vegetables planted in this part of the garden. And this is where she has all of her herbs. Here's another view of that fire and ice hydrangea in the back of the herb garden, vegetable garden. And right over here, these are the 3 hydrangeas that I divided up from the one plant. This is also the fire and ice hydrangea, and in front of it are the Jack Frost spinera. I love the foliage of that. There are bulbs on these, and notice they're a little bit later compared to the other plant that we have. Give it some time, and I'm pretty sure that these plants will be bushy and blooming nicely like the original plant. And all 4 of these Jack Frost spinera survived the division and transplant. Here's just another look from the back of the garden, looking towards the front of the garden. So on this little bed here, do you remember how empty it was? So my sister-in-law planted a lot of zinnias here. She's got 2 corn plants in here as well. Here they've got the 2 cone Green Mountain boxwood. Here's one of the vanilla strawberry hydrangeas that I transplanted into this location. The buds are forming, as you can see, on this newly transplanted vanilla strawberry plant. Remember at the front of this border, they had a drift of the dianthus, the sort of a pink one, that's just sort of finished blooming. So here's one of the new dimension pinks, salvia. I'm going to help her prune this back so that the entire plant will be putting out new growth and new blooms soon. And here are the 2 prairie sun daisies that I planted. Look at that. Can you imagine that tiny little plant? Now it's this size. I remember each one was just $3. I think in no time these 2 bushes will fill in and become one larger bush next year. This is the creeping phlox that they have at the front. It's a white color bloom that comes and blooms in the spring. So here's one of the Rose of Sharon trees that they have here in this part of the garden. And here is the Black-Eyed Susan plant. Now I gave them just one single stem, and look what it looks like now. And right behind the Black-Eyed Susan is a piece of the bulbul hydrangea that I divided for them. And notice that the panicles are starting to form. Again, it's a little bit behind the other plants, but I think it will be blooming this year. And here are the 2 Queen Victoria lobelia that I planted. Do you remember how small it was in the spring when we planted it? And right in front of the Queen Victoria lobelia is another new dimension pink salvia. And this lobelia is starting to bloom. Oh, I can't wait to see this. I think it's going to be a gorgeous plant. My sister-in-law also sprinkled some zinnia seeds here as well. And right in between these two rows of Sharon, you'll see that the echinacea plants are right there. So I planted two pink powwow echinacea or coneflowers, and one of it happens to be a white variety. Can you imagine just one tiny stem becomes this? Sometimes when you buy plants that are so small, you can never know for sure until they bloom. I think in a way, it's actually quite nice to have two different ones. So when they divide next year, they'll be able to have two different varieties to move around the garden. Here's another bulbul hydrangea that we divided. I think it's starting to form blooms. As you can see, there's a broccoli panicle forming right there. And here my brother just transplanted this peony. And usually peonies you transplant it later in the fall, but he didn't know and he moved it here. So it may not flower next spring, but hopefully it can still flower the year after. So here's this Rose of Sharon standard that I gave them a while ago. And usually these don't bloom till later in the season, so it'll be a gorgeous white color. And here's the other apple tree that they've got on the opposite side of the garden. Remember this drift of the Happy Returns Day lily that I divided up for them in here? And right behind the Happy Returns Day lily, we've got three of the panicle hydrangeas. So this is a vanilla strawberry hydrangea. The second one looks like to me another vanilla strawberry as well. You can kind of tell by the pink reddish stems. And the third one here, it's also, I think, a vanilla strawberry hydrangea. Here's more of that sort of bluish green with the yellow variegation in the middle, and there's three of those. And there's a whole bunch of these hostas here that my mom gave them. I love this one as well. The margin is a bit bluish green, and the middle variegation is a light buttery yellow. And here's one of the three pieces of the Endless Summer Hydrangea Original that I broke up from the mother plant on the other side. And here's a drift of three hostas that we've got under this other apple tree. And under here we also have a Jack Frost Sprinera that we broke off or divided up into three pieces here. I think this is a gorgeous view as well. Look at this. So now at dusk, we're going to be turning on all the landscaping lights for you to see what the garden looks like in the evening. So anyway, before we go, I'm going to say thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the update of Tony and Becky's garden, and I will see you on the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now.